There's a gold standard these days when it comes to affordable straight line speed. I'm talking about, of course, the Dodge Hellcat. Now, I can't afford a Hellcat, Max can't afford a Hellcat, neither can Joe. So the other day we were thinking, how could we afford to beat a Hellcat? So we put together a list of 7 theoretical project cars and 1 bonus vehicle that could smoke a Hellcat in the quarter mile. But here's the thing, you can build any of these for under 15 grand. We're going built, not bought today. I'm James, and this is the D-List. Big thanks to Omaze for sponsoring this week's episode of the D-List. Now, it's no secret that we love the Dodge Demon on this channel. We talked about its history on Up to Speed. We reviewed it as a daily on the New Car Show. Rest in peace. And we told you how the world's fastest Demon worked on Bumper to Bumper. I even have a Dodge tattoo, even though I've never owned a Dodge. So naturally, we were stoked when Omaze hit us up to give away this 2018 Dodge Demon.
Hell yeah! Doug in the hissy!
What are you doing here, Doug?
You summoned me. I have to appear when you summon me. I'm a demon. That's one of them demon rules.
Nah, man, I don't think I'd ever summon you.
Not now?
No.
Not ever?
I really don't see the point.
Never ever? When?
No one wants you to hang around, Doug. You're annoying, you're rude, and I don't know if you're aware, but we are rolling. You're interrupting my job.
I get it, James. You want to hang out with a good demon, the most powerful muscle car to ever come out of Detroit. But this demon's the only production car to ever do a wheelie. Old Doug's never gonna be able to do a wheelie because I can't climb on a bike because I don't have all my muscles.
Oh, Doug. And it could be yours. Just head on over to omaze.com/donutmedia to enter for your chance to win. The taxes and the shipping are included. Plus, Omaze is also throwing in a cool $20,000 cash.
Stop looking at old Doug, he's an ugly crier.
Plus, every donation supports an organization that means a lot to me, the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. So don't wait, go donate today. And now, back to the show. Why do your tears stink?
Let me be honest with you, I could take care of myself a little better.
Okay, just to be clear, the cars on this list can probably beat a Hellcat in the quarter mile at least once. Now, after that, we cannot promise that they won't blow up. A Hellcat has AC, power windows, a luxurious leather interior, heated seats, air-conditioned seats, I'm sure. It's a much better daily driver. These guys just want to see the world burn. The first entry on this list is a baby little boy named the Geo Metro. It was also sold as the Chevy Sprint and the Suzuki Swift, but everyone calls it a Geo Metro, so I will too. It could be argued that no one liked these when they came out, and that no one likes these today. In other words, they're cheap. One just sold for $709. That's as many dollars as the Hellcat has hearse purse. Now you're probably asking yourself, here, give me my laptop. How is this little baby boy gonna beat a Hellcat? Well, to start, this little baby only weighs 1,500 pounds, which is about 3 Nolans when he was born. And we're gonna be yanking that little 3-pot out of there. But what innards are we gonna pick for our compact little Frankenstein? There's a ton of engine options that might be able to get you into the 10th in this little guy, but for this build, I'm gonna suggest a certain 1300cc engine that you might know from a little thing called the frickin' Hayabusa. Hayabusa means falcon or something. Hayabusa engine puts out about 200 horse pers, which I know is not anywhere close to Dodge's 707 horsepower, but here's the thing. The Geo Metro only weighs 1/3 of a Dodge Challenger, so you take that 200 horsepower Busa block at a massive shot of nitrous, and you could probably definitely smoke a Hellcat in the quarter. Now, this isn't exactly the healthiest thing to do to your engine, but all you gotta do is win this one race and you get your son back. So let's tally the price here. $700 for the car, about $3,000 for the engine. You'll need to get your knucks a little greasy, and you might end up spending a few $1,000s on some random parts, but we're well under the $15,000 threshold here. I think we're doing pretty good.
Honda Civic.
Everybody's favorite car has more potential than your dad thinks. Forget the fact that the wrong wheels are getting all the power for an ideal drag racing setup, because with a little bit of patience and some garage massage, you might be able to take your Civic to the strip and take home a Hellcat pink slip. For this concoction, we're gonna start with a 6th gen Honda Civic. That's the one from the mid-90s, and swap in a K20 from a late 2000s Civic Si. K-swaps are insanely popular right now, and for a very good reason. You can find these engines everywhere for super cheap because they were put into a ton of stuff. They put down solid horsepower, and they're relatively easy to swap. And spoiler alert, this ain't the only K you're gonna see on this list. Okay. But this theoretical build doesn't just end with an engine swap. Did you honestly think it was gonna be that easy? Well, good job. You played yourself. To get into the 10s and send that Hellcat home, you're gonna need to do some serious work on the head, not to mention some larger injectors, a standalone ECU, big old shot of nitrous, and a heavy-duty clutch to handle all that power. Believe it or not, the rest of the K20's internals are strong enough to handle upwards of 400 horsepower or more. We priced out the parts that I just mentioned, and the entire build, including the car, if you do the work yourself, corners in right around $10,000. Just think of the look on Jason's face when you gap his Mopar ass with your fail-wheel drive Econobox. You might be kind of skeptical about a Civic beating a Hellcat, but go to YouTube and type in Civic beating Hellcat, and you'll see this car.
Eclipse Talon Laser.
We talked about these DSM triplets a few episodes ago, and we're talking about them again because we like talking about them. I love these cars. They're like from my childhood. I'm talking about the Mitsubishi Eclipse, AKA the Eagle Talon, AKA the Plymouth Laser. They're great cars, and you can still find some of these chappies on Greg's List for super cheap because they're ugly as sin. You might have guessed it, but the reason that these triplets are on the list is because the beefy 4G63 that lives inside of them. This iron 4-banger was the same engine found in the Evo, and it can handle a ton of boost without even needing to upgrade the internals like you would on most engines. Slap on a bigger turbo with the money you saved by not having to buy a bigger engine. And we still got some cash left in the budget, so we're gonna buy some slicks. Maybe some suspension stuff, maybe some cans, maybe a good tune. And this thing will eat freaking pink slips for dinner, for seconds, for thirds, for dessert. Plus you can get them in all-wheel drive, so you get all that sweet, sweet grip for your lounge.
4th gen Camaro.
It's the worst Camaro of all time.
It looks like a fish.
You're never gonna get any pinks with that trash.
That's what people are saying every day about the 4th gen Camaro. But people are finally coming around to the insane amounts of cheap power the Catfish delivers thanks to the famous influencer slash tastemaker, Jeremiah Burton. Good news is they're still hella cheap, and if you go for one after 1998, you can have LS power on your side. Those are the big boy horsepowers, okay? That's a lot of potential. But the big dilemma is whether or not you want to shut down that Hellcat with nitrous, if you want a turbocharger or supercharger, if you want to go freaking NA. That's pretty much order of difficulty slash cost, so we're gonna concentrate on the juice. A stock Camaro SS makes a little over 300 horsepower. We're gonna squirt a 200 shot of nitrous in there. If you don't know, that means we're adding about 200 horsepower of nitrous. Might as well throw some cams and some headers in while we're at it. So now we're at over 500 horsepower. Still not quite there yet, but the most effective thing you can do to go faster is to get lighter. And the Catfish has pounds to shed. Rear seats, who needs them? Passenger seat, sayonara. Carpet, interior panels, doors, trunk, adios muchachos. Last thing we're gonna need is a set of slicks and some upgraded rear suspension to handle all that power, baby. Final tally after parts, not a bad way to spend $10,000.
Chevy S10.
The GMC Cyclone with an S was one of the wildest trucks to ever exist. With a few modifications, could beat a freaking Hellcat, but there's no way that you're gonna find a Cyclone for $15,000. Cyclone with an S, people, are vicious, and they know what they got. So if you can't find a cheap Cyclone, the next best thing, you build your own Cyclone! Finding a first or second gen S10 with a 4.3 liter V6 shouldn't be too hard. After you got your S10, head down to the junkyard and grab yourself a 700 R4 4-speed transmission from a C4 Corvette, because you'll need it to handle the amount of power we're about to give. After that, upgrade the engine internals. I'm talking forged crank rods, pistons, the whole shebang. Slap on a turbo and intercooler, and we're basically ready to roll. I'm pretty nonchalant about saying simply upgrade the internals, but it is a lot of work. This isn't exactly a beginner project, and paying for this labor would be super expensive. So let's say the turbos and forged internals really aren't your bag. There's another way. Chevrolet doesn't only sell cars, they also sell engines, crate engines, the good stuff. You can buy a refurbished 454 big block for like $6,000 with a warranty from Walmart. Throw on some headers, turbo 400 transmission, pair it with a narrow 12-bolt rear end, fat rubbies, all that in a lightweight mini truck. We're getting dangerously close to the $15,000 cap, but this setup will get the job done. Right. And you might even be able to drive this one home.
VW Beetle.
They made 22 million Volkswagen Bugs between 1938 and 2003. And it was invented by Hitler, so you don't need to feel bad about hacking one up. And while the Beetle's power more than doubled in its 65-year run, the 50 little innocent horses the Beetle managed to pump out of its air-cooled engine still isn't very impressive. Turns out there's another company that makes some pretty good flat fours. But these engines aren't air-cooled, and it rhymes with Boobaroo. The Subaru EJ25 swaps in the STI are pretty common on the old VW platform. People put them in bugs, buses, things, squarebacks, fastbacks, notchbacks, hunchbacks, but even the EJ25 doesn't quite give us enough power for what we need it for. So instead of the EJ25, we're going with an EJ20 with a custom eBay turbo setup, just like in low carb, because that went so well last time.
You getting on?
No, Eddie, not good. What the fuck you think, dude?
Add some big old 1000cc injectors, and Jason will be kissing his pink slip goodbye with his rosy pink lips. Beautiful Jason, he's total pack of brains and brawn. This will be a good time to mention that you should probably spend a little bit of your cold hard cash on brakes or a parachute, because Beetles are not very good at stopping good. So what's the price? Okay, let's say $1,500 for the car, $1,500 for a good, as in won't blow up the first time you turn it on engine, $1,500 for the eBay turbo stuff, and everything else, and we're at like $6,000. That's enough to pay someone else to install it for you.
MR2.
Everybody loves the MR2, but you don't usually see them dropping commanding times at the strip, unless you watch the Boosted Boys, which I suggest you do. They're the main reason that I added this car to the list. In stock form, the MR2 is not putting down much more than 200 horsepower. But remember that thing I said about K-swaps earlier? This ain't the only K you're gonna see on this list. That's because we're throwing a K24 in this beer. That's the engine that Honda used in a ton of cars between 2001 2014. Compared to the K20, the K24 has more displacement and stronger internals. In other words, it's just a little bit beefier. And we're gonna need all the beef that we can get. Head on down to your local pick and pull and grab your own, or you can even buy it as a crate engine that's already built. And since the MR2 is super light and mid-engine, we don't need a ton of power to compete with Dodge's 707 horsepower. By my extremely scientific calculations, around 400 should be just enough. And 400 is definitely doable in a K24. K24s sound really, really good. And the thought of a swapped MR2 outrunning a Hellcat is one of the coolest things that I can possibly imagine. But I don't have to imagine it, because YouTube exists. Google it. Just go watch the Boosted Boy. His car does wheelies. We've reached the end of the list. We have one more vehicle. It's not technically a car, but I don't even freaking care, because I hate rules and this thing is so sick. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's gonna be a motorcycle. Cool. Haha, you're not fooling us, James. That I say, you're dead wrong, pal. Because I'm not talking about a motorcycle either. I'm talking about a snowmobile.
A snowmobile?
If you're not from snowy places, you might not realize that these things can be real fast. Imagine a 1000cc V4 powering a vehicle that only weighs 700 pounds. Now stop imagining it because it's real. And instead of a tiny rear tire, they use a 15-inch wide track that puts all the power down at once. And I know it sounds silly, but snowmobiles hook hard and can put down 9-second quarter miles. I'm not talking about on snow, I'm talking about taking your Arctic cat to the tarmac to freaking smoke Hellcats. Snowmobiles have ridiculous turnover and you can buy them way cheaper at the end of the snowy season when everyone decides, you know what, I think it might be time to sell the snowmobile. We didn't really use it at all this season since the guys went to uni, eh? With about $3,000 to spend on a special rear track and suspension upgrades to convert it to asphalt racing, these things start in the low 11s, but with a little bit of tuning, people are routinely putting down 9s and even 8-second quarter mile times. Is it cheating? Going fast is never cheating, and Jason won't know what hit him. This is without a doubt the cheapest and easiest way to beat a Hellcat, period. If you want to talk to me and the other guys, we have a Discord. It's part of our membership program. To learn more about that, click the join button below, or I'll go ahead and put a link in the description because I know on some mobile devices it doesn't really work. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that like button. It's the best way for us to know that we're doing a good job. Follow Donut at Donut Media. Follow me at James Pumphrey on all social media platforms. I love you.